The restaurant exuded luxury, its dim lighting casting a warm glow over the elegantly furnished space. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, their light reflecting off polished silverware, while the soft melodies of jazz music wove through the air. The room was alive with well-dressed guests, engaged in cheerful conversations and laughter. Tonight was meant to be a celebration, a grand affair at the Crescent Moon, one of the city's most prestigious dining establishments. The occasion? My wife Alice's long-awaited promotion. The opulence surrounding us seemed to reflect the magnitude of her achievement. Every element, from the flickering candlelight to the immaculately set tables, had been curated to offer an evening of refined indulgence. Alice was stunning that night, dressed in an emerald green gown that shimmered under the dim glow. The color perfectly accentuated her auburn hair. She moved through the crowd with effortless grace, her laughter blending harmoniously with the gentle strains of jazz that filled the room. Her eyes sparkled with a mix of joy and pride. It was her moment, and I was honored to stand beside her, basking in the glow of her success. As the evening progressed, I found myself drifting between conversations, exchanging pleasantries with friends and colleagues. The atmosphere was lighthearted, filled with warmth and celebration. At one point, I decided to step out onto the balcony to breathe in the crisp night air. The view was mesmerizing. The city skyline stretched before me, its twinkling lights a stark contrast to the lively scene inside. Yet, amidst the serenity, a sudden curiosity stirred within me. Alice had mentioned earlier that she wanted to show me something special. Intrigued, I re-entered the restaurant, eager to find her. But as I stepped back inside, something felt different. The mood had shifted. The chatter was louder, charged with an unfamiliar energy. Scanning the room, I searched for Alice, and when my eyes finally landed on her, my heart clenched. She stood in a secluded corner of the restaurant, deep in conversation with her boss, Richard, tall and imposing. Richard carried himself with the air of a man accustomed to control. I had always known him to be ambitious, but I never imagined his ambitions extended beyond the workplace. As I moved closer, a strange unease settled in my chest. His hand rested casually on the small of Alice's back, and she responded with a soft, playful touch against his chest. Their proximity, their body language, it was intimate in a way that sent a cold wave of realization crashing over me. At first, I tried to rationalize it. Was this just an innocent gesture? A fleeting moment of misinterpretation? But the closer I got, the clearer the truth became. Richard leaned in, his lips grazing Alice's ear as he murmured something. She responded with a smile, one that was far too familiar, far too affectionate. The air around me seemed to thin. My pulse quickened. The weight of betrayal settled heavily in my chest, each breath growing more difficult. Alice and Richard were more than colleagues. They had been hiding something that shattered the illusion of the perfect evening. A storm of emotions raged within me. Anger, disbelief, heartbreak. My mind raced through fragments of memories, each one now laced with suspicion. I clenched my fists, the urge to confront them rising like a tidal wave. Richard's fingers slowly trailed down Alice's arm, lingering deliberately. That was it. I couldn't stand idly by any longer. With my heart hammering, I strode toward them. The noise of the party faded, replaced by the deafening rush of blood in my ears. Alice's eyes widened the moment she saw me, her expression morphing from surprise to guilt. Richard, on the other hand, straightened, his confident demeanor shifting to something more guarded. "Alice," I said, my voice steady despite the storm within me. "Can we talk?" A deep flush crept up her neck. She opened her mouth to respond, but before she could, Richard stepped forward, a smirk playing on his lips. "I think it's time we were honest," he said smoothly. The arrogance in his tone ignited something primal in me. The anger I had been desperately trying to suppress exploded. Before I could think, I grabbed Richard by the collar, yanking him away from Alice. Gasps rippled to the crowd, the once cheerful atmosphere replaced with murmurs of shock. "Stop it." Alice's voice cut through the tension, her plea edged with desperation. But it was too late. The confrontation had escalated. Richard, momentarily startled, quickly regained his footing and shoved me back. The restaurant erupted into whispers and startled gasps. The world around me blurred, the sound of the party distorting into a chaotic hum. Fury coursed through my veins, my mind clouded with betrayal. And in that moment I knew this night would change everything.